Welcome to Formosa Dream Chasers
We're your hosts, Mary Ann.
and Ching-en.
Please join us as we explore the journeys amazing people take in pursuit of their dreams.
And get insights from their experiences
Let's hit the road.
and get started.
Hello, and welcome back to Formosa Dream Chasers, where we share the stories of ordinary people pursuing extraordinary paths across Taiwan and beyond. With me, your host, Marianne Shoko. Last episode, we sat down with Kaohsiung-based Labor Director David T. Dicang and explored his remarkable journey from growing up in Baguio City to serving Filipino migrant workers across Korea, the Middle East, and Taiwan. Director Dicang shared how an unexpected opportunity in government service opened the door to a lifelong career dedicated to protecting and uplifting overseas Filipino workers. We also got a behind-the-scenes look at the realities of labor diplomacy, from handling deployment concerns and worker welfare cases to building strong relationships with local governments, communities, and migrant support networks around the world. Through his stories, one thing became clear. Behind every policy and every office is the human mission of helping people far from home. In today's episode, we continue our conversation with Labor Director Des as he talks about the unique support system Taiwan offers its migrant workers and why officials see that this is more responsive and accessible compared to other countries. What makes Taiwan stand out when it comes to migrant worker protection? Let's find out more as we dive back into the conversation with Philippine Labor Director David T. Dicang.
Taiwan is a very pleasant place to be. It's a country that looks into migrants' rights. There are labor bureaus in each county and each city. Taiwan has a working hotline on migrants' concerns, the 1955. So it makes our job easier, much easier than in the other places where I was, because Taiwan has a strong service for migrants. Not only the Taiwan labor bureaus, immigration, or other instrumentalities, but also the non-government organizations, the religious community, helping each other, looking into concerns of migrants. I get to have time here. Nothing
Okay.
compared where I was in the US. Yeah. There's time to play basketball and there's
Okay.
time to eat somewhere.
I understand. Thank you, sir, for giving us an idea of how Taiwan serves migrant workers, the advantages that they offer in comparison to other countries. I think that's a very interesting perspective, especially because you've been working in, as you said, many different countries serving our Filipino workers. And I find your sharing very interesting because I do see that they have a very active policy, and you also have a lot of organizations that are very actively working towards uplifting migrants here in Taiwan. So it's nice to see that also echoed in your own experiences.
Yes, actually, Marian, there are so many nice, good things to see and to experience in Taiwan. We're happy to note that Filipinos also prefer to work in Taiwan, and we remind our Filipino workers to actually have that mindset that they're here to work, but also enjoy life and hopefully not get into scams. Some seek our help who are victims of scams and other stuff. So there should be a mindset really that we're here to work in Taiwan. You have a limited time of stay, like for manufacturing workers is only 12 years, for caretakers is only 14 years. While there's a bridge, there's a chance for you to extend your stay, like for mid-level skilled workers. And of course, we also have white-collar workers. Like we tell all our migrant workers around the world that make the most of what you have, make the most of your opportunities, and there's a lot to be thankful for being in Taiwan. Like when I was here 20 years back, there was no maternity leave for migrant workers. But when I returned, I was happy to know that there are so many good changes. And now they're all going to open up the hospitality sector, I guess for hotels, and the preferred choice of the labor department are Filipinos. So in the next months to come, the hospitality sector will be opening up to migrants. Firstly, Filipino workers or kababayans.
Many of our listeners come from different countries and have different backgrounds. Perhaps, sir, you could help us understand why do so many Filipinos choose to work overseas?
Yeah, but first, going to the data, by end of March of 2026, the data is there are 194,690 Filipinos in Taiwan, but we're only next to Vietnam and Indonesia. Indonesia is the highest at 352,715 and Vietnam at 314,782. But the reason for this is that it can be the Mandarin language and the kind of work. Like there are more Indonesian caretakers, more Indonesian fishers, and
Mm,
more Indonesian and Vietnam Mandarin speakers. But for us, we're into the industries, manufacturing work, and the semiconductor companies. So that's for us, for the Philippines. But yes, you're correct. We are in all other countries. So that's why we have not only our embassies and consulates, we're now trying to put up more migrant workers offices in more countries where there are concentration of Filipino workers. I guess it started early on in the 70s when Filipinos migrated to Hawaii in the agricultural sector, and and then the oil boom in Saudi Arabia where Filipinos traveled to that part in the Middle East, and maybe the excitement of traveling and living in other places, and it's also the need of earning more of greener pastures, the opportunity of getting work. And of course, personally, my wish is migration should really be a choice. A person should not be pushed to work, to be forced to leave the country to actually survive. For me personally, it's best to have a livelihood in the Philippines. But right now, the reason why our Filipino workers are called the modern heroes because of the remittances coming from our overseas workers to the Philippines lifts our economy. And I hope there will come a time that the work opportunities in the Philippines will be much better, and migration or work in other countries becomes a choice more than a necessity.
understood, sir. You mentioned something about survival, which is why a lot of Filipinos choose to work abroad. So, based on your many years of working with Filipinos, I'm wondering what would you say is the common dream most Filipinos who work overseas have? What do they wish or what is their goal?
Yeah, I think the number one is better lives for their families. To be able to give, to be able to raise their family, have a better life. It's still the basic education, housing. So my wish is that all of those opportunities we can really have back home, but there's the push factor that motivates our kababayans to go out there. But there will also come a time where even if you have that success, or aside from giving a better giving a better life for your family, or there's also that like I can say I have two brothers in the States and they like being there. So for some it's a survival. It's earning for the family. For some they get to like the place where they're staying at this point in their life. So we're everywhere. Some it's the excitement of being somewhere else, or they enjoy the place. So it's really a mix of things. But I hope it's not on the survival part, it'll not be the push factor.
Okay, sir. And then also, because of your many years of working directly with Filipinos overseas, what are the challenges or struggles that you see our kababayans face when they live and work abroad?
One is when you're separated from your family. I think that's one of the hardest things to go by. That's why I'm happy to see families who are together, but mostly professionals, are engineers and nurses. They have the chance to be with their families in their workplaces. But for other workers, many of our workers, they are separated with their families. So mothers alone work in houses, or even husbands in companies or other industries, leaving their wives and children at home in the Philippines. And that's one of the biggest challenges is the social impact of being separated from your family.
Hmm.
Yes, and that's also one of the advantages here in Taiwan. We're very near the Philippines. So sometimes it's even easier to take a plane ride to the Philippines than when you're in the Philippines taking a plane ride to the south of the Philippines. So
Yes, that's true.
uh, yeah, so it's also another thing. So
Okay. Since we're talking about Filipino workers who are also here in Taiwan, in your view, what strengths do Filipino workers bring to Taiwanese workplaces and communities?
yes, I think it's their competence, their skill. Okay, so on the job, that's one of the traits that the employers are looking for. Hardworking, competent on the job, and we remind our Filipino workers to that having this opportunity of working, we make the best of what we have, and also invest to find a career path and to learn on the job. There's this one workplace where some Filipino workers had zero knowledge on the job on boat making. So one of the good traits of Filipinos, they learn so fast. The second year from zero knowledge of these certain skills, they get to learn, and their employer wants to now invest in the Philippines to put up a similar company, a similar industry, invest in the Philippines uh, because we learn fast.
Okay, understood. Sir, earlier you gave an overview of the work that your office does in service of the Filipinos here in Taiwan and in general for the different labor offices in different countries. I was wondering for here in Taiwan, what are the most common concerns or questions that workers bring to your office?
For Taiwan, there are less employment related concerns, but the concerns that we get from our migrant workers are those facing like fraud and scam situations. So that's why we remind and we work together with the National Police Administration and even the labor bureaus, always reminding our Filipino workers to be careful and to take care of their personal details, and like on social media, not to believe everything. And then the thought of earning fast in a way that will put you in danger. And then I think Taiwan now is lenient in issuing driver's licenses. So we also have several cases on vehicular related safety for workers encountering vehicular accidents because many drive the motorcycle here in Taiwan. So that's another concern. So on traffic safety, on anti-fraud. So these are the many concerns. At least for labor related cases, it's not that much, but we're looking really into interventions on reminding and like also on lending, on borrowing money and all of this stuff. So it affects your employment, and instead of earning, you get into more trouble. So that's some of the concerns that are brought to us. So we really have to get into interventions of our workers, especially those in the lower income levels, to develop their skills and upgrade and develop pathways for them. Like the University of the Philippines right now has a program on Open University where our workers during their off time can actually study online and get a degree. So there's an opportunity like that because some of our workers are quite young, or many of them are young. They're in their early 20s and early 30s here in Taiwan, and with the limited of stay, when you get older, go back to the Philippines, the window of employment gets smaller. So it would be great to have develop a career and maybe develop skills enhancement and getting also into a good investments, not the investments where you'll be in trouble.
Understood. Sir, would you like to mention some of the programs or initiatives that your office currently has to support workers or assist workers here in Taiwan?
Yeah, apart from employment facilitation and on workers' welfare and guiding them, we also conduct trainings like there's bread making. So when they go back to the Philippines, they can learn, well, they can learn something here. There's actually we conduct legal aid clinics also. The lawyers from the Philippines come to Taiwan to conduct training on legal aid clinics for our workers, not just on family law but also on property law, because when workers try to go into investing on buying properties in the Philippines. And MECO has also launched partnerships with the PRC, the Professional Regulatory Commission, where we conduct special professional licensure examinations here. So you don't need to go back to the Philippines if you're a teacher. Actually, you're supposed to be in the teaching profession, but you're now a caretaker and you just need to take that exam for teachers and even in other work categories like for engineers who have not taken the licensure exams. We also have that program with the PRC, and we encourage our workers to take these opportunities.
Okay, understood. Sir, we're gonna shift the conversation a little bit now
Okay, sure. Yeah.
towards something a little bit more reflective. And you've shared a lot of your experience, and you've mentioned that this career has given you the opportunity to make a positive impact on numerous Filipino workers all over the world. And you've been in this industry or sector, shall we say, for over 30 years. So I was wondering if you could share a memorable experience that you've had with a Filipino worker that made a significant impact on you. Would that be okay?
There are several, no? There are many exciting moments, but what comes to mind right now is we composed a song with the Filipino community in Qatar during the COVID season. So it was so hard, no? Back in the state of Qatar in Doha. It was so hard to travel around. You know that the impact was worldwide. But aside from finding ways to, because people have lost their jobs then, some were in their houses, could not travel, and we found a way to help each other. Those with work can actually share what they have, aside from what we give from government, and we bring this from house to house. But aside from that, we even got to have an original composition. You can look at it at YouTube. The title of the song is Filipino Ka, Lingkod at Gabay ng Mundo. In English, it means you're a Filipino in service, you're a light, you're a shining light, you're a guide of the world.
And that's all for today's episode of Formosa Dream Chasers. Be sure to join us again next week for the final part of our conversation, where we'll explore Director Dicang's personal reflections, lessons learned from decades of public service, and his advice for Filipinos pursuing opportunities abroad. Until then, thanks for listening.
This is Ching and Cho.
And Mary Ann Shoko.
See you guys next week. Bye.